Okay. Well, welcome. Welcome to our beloved community for being here and supporting our beloved Urima. This is a prayer circle, a time for us to share in our field, to co create Urima's intentions. And this is a time for her to receive. She has blessed us and given us so much in our community. And I've felt so much warmth and care and love since I've known you. And just hearing about your journey, I felt that all of us really felt called to come to give back. And I'm just so honored to be here with everyone and those online, and for us to bring our hearts to Urima's intention. So, in this meditation, we will have Urima share her intention first, and then we will meditate on this intention and just allow whatever to show up in your visual field to show up. And afterwards, we can share whatever arose in this. So I will pass it to Urima now, and then afterwards, we'll be guided through a few ohms, and then we'll start the meditation. Okay, so here you go.
So first off, thank you to V and to Dennis for organizing this. As most light workers, it's much harder for me to receive than to give, and let that be a lesson to all of us. I wouldn't be in this situation now if I had learned that as I was going along. So crash course now. So 29 years ago, I gave birth to twins at age 45 and had severe postpartum hemorrhaging, which, unbeknownst to anybody, created damage to my pituitary gland, not my pineal, my pituitary. Pituitary is if you go straight in from the bridge of the nose, so in the middle of it's actually at the base of the brain, not the base of the skull, base of the brain. So it continued to erode, and the pituitary gland sends out our hormones to the adrenals and to the thyroid and to the estrogen and testosterone and whatever all else. So over 29 years, it was getting less and less. Then 4 years ago, I had COVID pneumonia, and apparently that was the last straw. My pituitary just stopped working. So they've spent the last 4 years trying to figure out what the hey. And so end of last year, I had 5 or 6 near-death experiences, which were bliss. I don't know what I'm doing back here. Must be a really good reason. So I was screaming at the universe one time after I came to, once again, what is this? I heard adrenals. So then the doctors went, oh, you're in adrenal failure. Huh. Okay. Yeah. So the adrenals are on top of the kidneys. They look like little children's party hats. And so and then also I now have an infection. So the body is totally depleted at the moment, which we're going to change in a few minutes. But I have an infection in my eyelid. My knee is tore ligaments last night as it collapsed. It's just like the whole thing is just sort of losing its life force energy. And this has been since last Wednesday. I know this is long, but one more thing. Last Wednesday, I woke up after a nap and I thought I was dead. I had seemingly no life force at all. And I couldn't figure out how I could be dead here in my bed rather than the other side. I mean, that really seems unfair to me. And I couldn't even have lifted a baby finger or sat up. It's like I was on zero. When I'm asking, what is this? I got that for the last 50 some odd years, I've been like a a race car that's revved up to full capacity and just on 24/7 as I traveled around the world and all kinds of wonderful things. But then now the battery is so drained that it won't hold a charge anymore. And I've had a few healings since obviously all of this is going on, and they just sort of pour right through me. So one of my first intentions, and probably the primary one, is if it's for my highest good on all levels, very important to me, on all levels, to have the battery be able to recharge, be able to refill, to hold it, that would be great. Yeah, and then the pituitary is damaged on the front part of it, so the part that's a little closer to my nose, and the adrenals are just nothing. If you want to hook them up to your electricity and give them a little nudge, that'd be okay. And then infection in my eyelid, my knee, and that's plenty. But really the intention, if it's for my highest good, to have the battery be able to get it together. It's my left knee. Yeah, I have severe bone on bone. It's just if I'm still going to be here, it'll be nice to walk. Just say. All right, and thank you all for coming. I'm so grateful that you're here. And let this be a lesson to all of you to balance out your giving and receiving so you don't get into this spot at age almost 74. Okay. Thank you.
Okay, so now what we'll do is, with Urima's intention in our heart, in our body and mind, we'll take a breath in and out together, and then we'll take 2 ohms together, and then we'll play the song, which is a 10-minute song, and just again allow that intention to infuse in your being, allowing it to show itself in sensations, in images, in auditory thoughts, and then we'll return just to share if whatever that shows up for you. So let's take a collective breath in and out. Actually, let's do 2 more. It feels so good. And let's take a collective Om together. And one more. Now we can play the meditation song. It's a 10-minute meditation. Thank you all. Let's take a breath in and out together. And in this time, I'll pass it over to folks to share what came through in your field of vision. And I'm going to pass it to Michael first.
Okay, well, it was a very beautiful vision, and what I saw, I don't know if you feel connected to the ocean or sea creatures or anything like that, but what I saw was rings of, first of all, it was seals, and you were under the water in the ocean, and they were just circling around you and circling around you, and then there were dolphins underneath them, making the same circle. And then there were orcas underneath them making a circle. And then I looked down onto the sea floor and I saw starfish making a circle. And then I looked above the water and I saw seabirds making a circle. And what they were all doing was building this container, holding this container for you. They were holding a container for you to hold this energy that you're asking to be able to hold. And they're basically saying, we're doing it for you. We're creating this field around you with all of our love to hold that energy around your body, and so you can hold it and receive it and allow it to heal you in a very powerful way. And then I looked at you and I were both under the water together, and I looked at you and you were tangled in seaweed. It was kelp specifically. And if you think about kelp is very helpful for the thyroid. The iodine in kelp is very helpful. But we see all these videos of like people freeing whales from fish nets or from being tangled in things. And in this case, they were doing that for you. So they were untangling you from this kelp that you were kind of wrapped in. And I didn't know if there was a message there about iodine. I have no idea for sure, but all I know is the next thing I know, when you were freed, you and I both popped up to the surface of the ocean, and you took this great big breath. You were like, like you had been underwater way too long. And what I heard was an ocean of tears is what I heard. And we were both like finally breathing, and we both had life jackets on. And so we were like celebrating and laughing and kind of like, oh my God, I can't believe how long we were under there. And now, how did we make it under there so long? And now we're up here breathing. So that was and also from above, at one point, Venus was right above you, and Venus and Sanat Kumara was like coming down through this circle, and it was the opposite of like staying on the earth. You're still floating at the ocean surface, out of the ocean of tears, but he was flying with you through the cosmos, and you were being led by him. But the planet Venus was like super important, and it was like the planet Venus is somehow, when it is your time to exit, it's like it's got to be in this perfect position or alignment with you. So I don't know much about astrology, and I don't know what your chart is, but I'd really say to you, look at your chart with the planet Venus. And then another point, the same thing happened with the moon, but it wasn't as big a deal as Venus. So Venus seems like a portal for you of some kind. So both it's like you're grieving this experience of feeling like you gave more than you're receiving. But I honestly believe on the deepest level, you didn't make any mistakes whatsoever in this life. You gave everything you could to everyone you could. And it just felt like there's nothing wrong with that. And I'm not saying you're not right about balancing your giving and receiving. I'm not saying that. But from a spiritual point of view, if you think of, our dear Amma here, you know what I mean, hugging 15,000 people in a weekend. It's like you are like her and very much like her. And I don't think there's any judgment or imbalance, or I don't think you've done anything wrong. I think when we're in this level of discomfort, we tend to think we must have done something to create that level of discomfort. But I don't think you did. I think you did everything right. I really believe that in my heart and soul from everything that I saw in this vision. And it's really a matter of divine timing more than anything. And that planet Venus is key to that divine timing. And all these sea creatures holding that container for you just seems like I don't know if you live near the ocean or.
So a number of those things really resonate. So first off, I felt this coolness, like I'm in the water. And it's like, well, what? Okay, I'm in the water. And I grew up in a Del Mar where the backyard was the beach. And my father got a job at the Capitol and we moved to Sacramento. No, that is so wrong. There's no ocean in Sacramento, in case you wanted to know. So I've almost always lived somewhere in the vicinity of the ocean. I have great affinity for especially the beluga whales, but all whales. I actually talk to them and they literally mimic my voice back to me. It's actually incredible. And of course the dolphins. And then at one point I wanted to cry. And so, there we were. And so lots of that fits perfectly. So thank you.
Well, coming to the surface seems like it's happening soon, if not now.
Wow. I just felt so much power and light from you immediately. My hands became so warm. And at the beginning of the meditation, I just saw like the fairy godmother, and I stepped into the point of the fairy godmother for you, and it was like, this is your time. And so we laid you back, and it was like, we're gonna do all the little things. And we started at your feet, and we went to your knees, and just started sewing things up, and just went through your whole body to give you the attention that it deserves. And then I was like, what else is here? And I saw the sun coming from you and emanating from you. And it was as if there's this vision of like the sun's, when the sun is losing its force, and you kind of see some of the black holes coming in through the sun. And it was like all that energy got pushed back into the sun and back into you. And I just saw that the energy needs to be turned around and pushed back to you. And it was a moment for you to receive and refuel. And I just was very warm throughout this whole meditation. And I know how much energy you emit without even knowing you and having just met you. So I feel grateful being in your presence, and I'm happy to serve. Thank you.
So I've always been able to see the fairies. So the fairy godmother is absolutely perfect. And I was born on the summer solstice. And so my birthday is it's June 20th, which, half the time is the solstice. So the sun is, so thank you. Thank you.
When I came in, you were just an angelic energy. You're from the angel realm. And I haven't seen you, I think, for a year or so. And you've cleared so much. That's what the last year's been about for all of us, to clear any subconscious limiting beliefs or whatever memories from the past. Lighting up. you've grown immensely, and you're here because you're needed here. No matter what the body's doing, they're keeping it going. Okay. And for me, the big picture is we all are here for our soul's evolution. And your life lesson was about giving and receiving, it seems to me. And you got it, right? The body helps us remember such things, learn such things. So you're doing beautifully. I focused on I'm just in channel when I'm focusing on people, and it's my higher self working with these beings, and it was this area to start with, and like your thymus is so involved in hormonals and all that, so it was really working on that area, and then I went down your left side, which needed opening and balancing, and then your center region, and it was like the timing was perfect when Dennis turned off the thing, because it was like came to completion. It was just finished. Blessings.
What came to me was, you are not this body. And surrender to God. And when you think of your body and you start finding yourself attaching to all these things that are happening to your body, stop and go inside and do some chakra clearing. Just get your chakras moving, do some chakra meditation. Connect with God at your Sahasrara. Come down, just hold and breathe. Exhale and move down your chakras successively. And then go back up. Stay at your heart for a little while. And then just end up here at your Sahasrara, your crown, and connect with God. And just repeat to yourself internally, God, God, God. Or divine, whatever is your choice of words. It's just all that is, right? But you are not this body. And once you relinquish that control of everything in the external, and this control of what's happening to your body, and just let go and release it, absolutely surrender, that's where you'll find this healing you're looking for.
So I'll probably pass on all the beings because there was just a lot of that. A beautiful process. So the ocean that I saw was emotion, but it wasn't just sadness. It was kind of like, imagine if the moon and the Venus were like the sun and the moon kind of, but it was like the dot inside the yin and the yang symbol. And then there was the sadness around one and the joy that's the flip side of the same coin around the other. Because you have had it hasn't really been a frantic journey of giving. It's been a beautiful journey of devotional, overflowing divine love in your giving. And yet, we always have, our higher, our elder brothers and sisters in the ascended master wisdom. It's not so much a hierarchy, it's like a concentric reflection of God. But in that, we're disseminating from the needles on the leaves and the twigs to the branches and the trunk, and identifying more with the God energy than the way that it shapes and manifests itself. So it's kind of like the roots of the frequency of your giving that you continue throughout this life and far beyond in multidimensionality are growing deeper. So you're not really pulling back the energy of giving, you're just kind of refining the font from which it flows and the depth of receiving from the divine and from others, and also from your acknowledgement, your self-love. Because when the sadness is welcome, then it's not seen as selfish despair like the Buddhists might say, but it's seen as this this holy receptivity to the pain within the mortal coil, and also like a humility to the beauty of the symphony that God is conducting, then the joy is allowed to integrate with the sadness. So it's not like I need to empty it out or clean it out, and the capacity isn't blocked by the suffering. It's actually like the suffering is a part of the symphony of the divine love. So I saw those oceans beginning to merge, the moon representing receptivity and Venus representing love, like the pink one in the trifold flame, because you're like really strong in the wisdom, and like the wisdom and the unconditional love flame. If one of them is smaller than the other, it's the smallest one. That's how much you get of the golden flame, like the access to the Holy Spirit. And it's like the unconditional love one is balancing out the wisdom one, and you're leaning back. You're not stopping the giving. You're just having a much greater effect with a much lesser effort. And it's a personal initiation and also a very powerful teaching. So it's kind of like a culmination of your life's work as opposed to like a failure. It's just a deeper equilibrium and a changing of modes. And left extensions of the root chakra, like the arms of the heart. And the knee is flexibility. And the left is receptivity, receiving support, and flexibility with how you receive support. You know, we don't want to be a burden. Like when you're surrounded by the ascended masters, you kind of aspire to that. And you're like, you know, she's hugging people all day. Does she ever get tired? We don't see it. And so, you know, I don't want to say, you know, I'm sad, I'm burdened, I'm worried, I'm attached. But in the company of the inner circle, not just the ascended masters, but your fellow healing practitioners in your community, to be able to say, hey, I'm weary or I'm hurting, even before it gets to a big level. And then love just gets poured on it. You welcome that area to be touched, because God and the higher ups, they're always respecting our free will, as wise or impulsive as that might be. So the integration of the oceans, I saw rhodiola, ashwagandha, avena sativa, the milky oat seed, shilajit, and like a few other regeneratives. And not total fasting for you, but like taking a lot of time to pray over the small amounts of high quality supplements and have people help you bless them. Excellent. And if there's any that have gaps, and then if you can up the dosage of some of them too. And just the water, like a lot of the ancient shamans would have quartz instead of glass, and you can really bless that quartz in the vessel for your water, not just where it comes from. Absolutely. There's a Ho'oponopono that came through. You know the one already. I'm sorry, please forgive me, thank you, I love you. And you don't have to know if it's about like God or you or the people or anything, just like universally. And it's like, oh, okay, it's okay to learn at my own pace. And then that like kind of facilitates you leaning back and letting the force of the divine overflow with such supreme gentleness and trust that it flips the polarity on these issues and allows you to feel safe long before they resolve themselves, even if long means moments. Pituitary is like ego and fear. It modulates all the other glands. And when the electromagnetic field of the heart reaches past the pineal gland and up to the pituitary, it stops breaking down the DMT in the pineal gland, which is normally like the governor on the go-kart, like, whoa, we're not ready for that. And then the electromagnetic field of your heart creates a sober psychedelic experience, like, you know, we're all relatively familiar with here. And then it doesn't just stop breaking down the DMT, but it makes more. And it's known both as the nectar and the poison gland. So just the way that you govern yourself is being shifted. And the more you surrender to it, then the mechanism that was, I wouldn't say misused, but learning, it can proactively calibrate itself to the guidance of the open crown beyond the fear. And then it can be restored. So just trying to block a river, but it's supposed to facilitate the flow of the river. Like the gold of the trifold flame. Well, it's been a pleasure working with everyone, and I feel like we all received working on you as well.
Well, lately I've been in a practice where I'm focused on consciousness. And I am more aware than I've ever been in my life that we give life to it. No matter if we're for it or if we're against it, as consciousness, it's going to grow just from putting the attention. So I've learned that there's a lot of power in just not interacting. Not interacting, you can change will happen, on its own. And just redirecting the feed, if you will, of the consciousness. So the intellect takes a back seat. Consciousness first, emotional second, intellect third, but we got that whole thing reversed. So I automatically I took the whole group and went to a very familiar place in front of the light, as a group. We went there and it was good, but there was something missing, at the very end of it. And I looked up at the picture and I thought, oh yeah, that's, Jesus, come into the group, and it just made it whole and complete, just feels really good. So there wasn't a lot of mind, analytical words. You're just directing consciousness toward well-being and peace.
Right before along your lines, I was going to add that, like, whenever the thoughts come into your mind about your body and your pain, whenever those mental, intellectual thoughts come into your mind about your pain and the areas where you're feeling this pain, redirect that mental back inside. Because when we go too far outside and we start connecting with the eye and the parts of our body that are having some just kind of, they're a little stuck, right? And when we connect with that, we create more of that. We create more of that karma. But if we can neutralize that thought and not go into the attachment to the body part or wherever you need that healing in your body, and you just neutralize it and go back inside, then you prevent that karma from developing further and further and more karma. You can neutralize it. So whenever you catch yourself, change that consciousness, move it internally, because the internal is the only real thing about us, is our energy and our soul, right? So move it back internally, connect with your energy systems. If you just want to connect with your crown or where you're feeling it in your face, in your eye, your third eye center, just connect back with your energy and reel yourself in from the intellectual karmic creation, if that makes sense. Because once we attach to the outside, we can keep going and going with that. And then we that's where we detach from our true self.
I was very blessed to go into Oneness Non-Duality in 2013, and so I know that we are all one, and we are all one with the divine, whatever you want to call that, and that is always my ongoing focus. However, when my body started asking for attention, and me realizing for 50 years I traveled all over the world, I was blessed. I didn't run out of energy for my people. I didn't get tired in the middle of bringing all of that energy through. It was only after it felt like Well, I'm going to just quickly describe my near-death experiences because it's relevant in speaking of Jesus. Starting in last year sometime, the first one, I woke up and I wasn't breathing and I was paralyzed. Now, it's hard not to pay somewhat attention to the body when you're not breathing and you're paralyzed because there's not a lot you can do about it, right? So I floated above my body. I was fine with that. Looking down, my body is struggling, and I'm really not too attached because I know I'm not my body. And I start forgiving everybody that I could think of, even though nothing in particular, occurs to me. And then I start asking for forgiveness for anything that I could, or whatever. And then I had a life review. Now, the most fascinating thing about the life review is that, first off, it started pre-verbal, so before I would have remembered it. And what was shown to me is that every time we do things with good intent, or at least not, at least neutral intent, that, that's what we're here to do on that level. It's only when we're do something we know, kind of, remember your 20s, kind of that may not be the best thing, and you did it anyway. Remember those days, right? So that was 10% of the time for me. 90% of the time, I had positive or at least neutral intent. So then I think I'm dead and I come to a couple hours later. Next time, I, again, stop breathing and I'm paralyzed. And again, I float above my body. And this time, I'm in this massive golden light, brighter than the sun. So we can't even imagine what it looks like. And then I go through a tunnel that has no walls. Don't ask me to explain. I don't know. A tunnel that has no walls. I come out on the other side, and, if I was going to ask for someone to meet me on the other side, I probably would have done Saraswati or White Tara or, so first off, standing there was this magnificent angel with these wings that, again, we can't even imagine the colors and the radiance and the light coming. I was just like, and then either she turned into Mother Mary or she disappeared and there was Mother Mary. And again, Mother Mary didn't say anything to me, just, exuding, unconditional love. And then I saw this golden chariot next to me. It was empty. And I'm wondering, what is this golden chariot for? And then I remembered that my oldest daughter's favorite lullaby was Swing Low, Sweet Chariot, which is about dying and going to the other side. So I thought, oh, it's a sign I'm dead. Okay, I'm good. I know where I am now. Okay, we're good. And then next to me was Jesus. Now, not the, Americanized, blonde-haired, blue-eyed Jesus, but the big brown eyes, unconditional love, just exuding compassion and divinity. And, I said, am I done? And he said, not quite. No. I said, well, what else do I need to do? And he said, write letters to your children. Okay, I could do that. And then 2 hours later, I come to, and a couple hours later. Next one, I, again, can't breathe, paralyzed, leaving. I know the drill now. And I don't have to go through the tunnel that has no walls. I'm just in that golden light. And Jesus is there. And I say, well, am I done now? I wrote the letters. I sent them, I mailed them. And, and he said, well, you could be. I thought, uh-oh, what does that mean? And he sort of lifted up my soul, spirit being, and he put me in the chariot, which is still there. And then these 8 magnificent horses, that luminescent horses, again, unlike anything we could even envision here. We're going, me, the chariot, and the horses are charging towards this massive white energy that I know is God, the source, the divine, whatever, and I know we're going to crash into it. I have no fear. This has got to be it. So we crash into it, and I explode into oneness with the divine. And what's funny is I told my 35,000 students for 50 years that I'm not coming back after this, that, I'm going to just be one with the source. And so don't expect me to come visit you after this, because I'm just merging back in. So I did. I merged back in. It was wonderful. I was ecstatic. It was more bliss than you could even ever imagine. And then a couple hours later, I come to going, uh-oh, I'm back. Oh. And then one other sort of side note. We all have heard about our, loved ones showing up for us to help us over to the other side. So another one of these, I have a master's degree in art therapy. It was my past life in this lifetime. So my favorite art therapy professor, who was elderly when he was teaching me, showed up. I thought that was very sweet. And my sister's nanny, I guess I was kind of too old for a nanny. Her name was Mrs. Rogers. She was a lot like Mr. Rogers, only she was Mrs. Rogers. She showed up. And my best friend's mother, who treated me like her own daughter. And my mother was a Stoic German, so, and my best friend's mother was a kindergarten teacher. So she showed up. And I'm like, I'm ready. Take me. Yes, take me. And I'm sort of realized I'm starting to leave. And then my aunt, who is my mother's sister, also a Stoic German, she was going, you're not done yet. And they left. They abandoned me. Anyway, so the points are, make sure we do everything with good intent. And, we all do. And the lessons are where we don't. And I think I probably decided not to go because I have a 7-year-old grandson that really believes he needs me. So he lives in Rochester, New York, and so I might have stayed to help him out a bit. So we will see. Oh, and one more thing. So also my neck is really, really sensitive. So you were very in tune with tapping into that. That was, I don't know why, but speak my truth pretty easily. I don't know.
Also, I want to also share. Okay, so I also want to share that for those who are online, that they can go ahead and share into the chat if there's people online. Oh, you did? Thanks, Dennis. If people wanted to share, then Dennis, you could read it out. Yeah, beautiful. And that also, when we are intending for Urima, there's a boomerang effect of all of this that we're receiving as well. So we're not just giving, but we're receiving. So this embodiment of the lesson is already being shared here. And what I saw when we went into meditation was an immediate pyramid that you were in, and it was just a really beautiful, and just what you're wearing now is very striking, and sapphire. There was a lot of sapphire energy in this pyramid, and it was just a glowing pyramid that you were within it, with a lot of energy also. So I don't know if that pyramid was bringing in more energy for you. But that was something I saw for quite a while. And then I also saw images of dragons come through, like dragon energy, very turquoise color, iridescent, beautiful, beautiful dragons. And it was like a breeze, like they were just flying all around you and blessing you. Okay. So much dragon energy, and almost like their fire breath was giving you also energy. So I saw that come through. And then I saw, I mean, I saw you as like Alice in Wonderland, and in this very like play-like kind of energy and just discovery that was coming through. Your partner Mason came through, just the enjoyment of life with him. And then I even saw you like dancing and just really like gliding around in this really graceful manner. So it was like just an aliveness of grace and movement that you were, yeah, just this young part of you that was coming through. So it was a joyous energy. Um, and then I saw like a lot of gold energy just all sparkling all around. Just a lot of beautiful energy, and I could just feel like throughout the meditation there was just like Jennifer Rose shared so much warmth, and as Samson shared, like a feeling of so many beings here supporting this circle and supporting you and building up your capacity. So yeah, you could feel all of that. So that was what was showing up for me. And yeah, I'll let you share again.
Okay, in Chinese astrology, I am a dragon. And I've just recently been calling in the dragons for more life force, for more, fire in me to help me navigate this. And a few times I felt like I was in a breeze. Like, where's that breeze coming from? And I had a very significant past life in Egypt. So we can talk about that another time. But yeah, so I relate to that. Oh, oh, I'm a water dragon. Hopefully I don't put out your fire. Maybe that's why I was calling upon the fire. Balance that out. And yes, Mason's supposed to be connecting while we were doing this too. So you probably felt him there. So thank you all. Yes, Dennis, honey.
It was a beautiful experience for me. And the music was really transcendent too. I kept on hearing grace, grace, and they're oming and I hear the grace, grace, grace throughout the song. And it immediately, when it started, there was like this opening over next in between Jesus and Mother Mary over here in the corner of this room, where this I want to say 10,000, 100,000 horses and people riding these horses all dressed in white come like this huge thing. Then they came into the room and they just kept coming into the room. And I was just watching them. I go, this is interesting. This, like is so clear. And as I was watching that, I felt Samson. I could Samson like this big light bulb over there. So, oh, Samson. And Samson and I were working together in this, this flow of this river of horses and people riding these horses, all dressed in white. I don't know if they're angels or masters or whatever. So at some point, I opened my eyes and I was doing exactly what Samson was doing. We were just moving the energy with our hands that was placed in the portal and directing it over to you. And of course, Carla was here, and her friend Christine was here. She was standing behind you. And at some point, my mind went blank, and I don't remember anything. I was just moving the energy, just emptied. At some point, I realized that every person that you ever helped in any of your lifetimes came through and were in here thanking you. And the word grace was just coming. Grace, grace, grace. And there was this recognition and this gratitude and this joy. And I felt it go into your heart. So that was pretty much it for me. What a night. And we had the 8. We had the intention for 8. There's probably like 6 people online. Greg Brett says blessings. I'll just take a look to see if anybody else put any comments in there. Anne's online. Jean Stoll is online. Oh, she says love and blessings. I hope for your healing, she says. Okay. Intention for a beautiful being who has given so much to so many. And this is, I don't know who this is, Yogi Rebel. And let's see what's happening on Facebook. And Annie Schote is there. She says hi. So, do you want to do the closing, or what would you like?
Okay, well, thank you everyone for being here in this intention and prayer circle for Urima. We'll just take another breath in together and close with an Om together. So let's breathe in. And breathing out. And let's do our Om. And yes, right. And then for the next few days, just noticing within each of us, and especially with Urima, what do you notice? What has maybe shifted for you? And just within each of us, too, being here, if we might feel something else that might show up. So just being open to that, the receiving, as it will continue. We are powerful creators in supporting this, and we know that it will have that ripple effect. So thank you all for being open to joining in. Yeah. Thank you.
So one of my first awareness was I felt this cool breeze, and I thought, oh, that's interesting. And I thought, oh yeah, I used to teach that when you're doing hands-on healing, somebody's feeling coolness coming in, it's because the body's taking it in so rapidly that it almost creates like a breeze, you know. So I thought, oh good, let's keep it up. Let's keep going. And all those other things that I mentioned, I did feel like I was going to cry at one point, and I did feel coolness, like I was in the water, and I did feel sensation in my pituitary, and I don't know, I kind of went into the, just experiential rather than essentially not necessarily physical body sensations. I was just in it, and all those other things I was mentioning. And all of you tapped into pieces of what was going on. Oh, please.
This is kind of comedic. So through the whole thing, I've had a image of a hamburger. And what that I think that means in my mind anyway is that the building blocks of all the hormones is cholesterol. So we've been taught that cholesterol is bad and you stay away from it, and then now there's good cholesterol and bad cholesterol and all that stuff. But literally this stuff of hormones is that. And it's like, I'm not sure exactly what your diet is right now. I'm not sure. But it seems like you need some cholesterol of some sort. And I don't know what that source should be. You decide, but just be aware of that. Yeah.
Well, it's interesting you're mentioning that because I have severe bone-on-bone in this knee, and it's from a car accident I had in '97 that ruined this knee and blah, 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 blah. Anyway, so about a year and a half ago, 2 years ago, I was going to do knee replacement surgery because I was really struggling with it, and all my avenues were exhausted. And the doctor said, well, you have to lose a whole bunch of weight before we can do it. Okay, so I lost 90 pounds. Should be tap dancing in the street about now. But instead, by the time I lost 90 pounds, my body was so depleted, and what I ate was little pieces of protein and little bits of vegetables 4 times a day. It's about a 500 calorie a day diet. So I think part of the depletion was my own doing, of doing that. And now, the doctor's saying, don't lose any more weight. Stop it now. I'm not eating like that anymore, but I'm trying to figure out the balance. And I have 5 genetic markers for obesity, and that I was raised on a 500 calorie a day diet, and blah, 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 blah. So, one of the themes of my life until Mason came along and told me that he loved me just the way I am. Anyway, so bison. Oh, that's interesting. Oh, well, thank you. And yeah, I will tune into that. Oh, thank you. Yeah. Oh, thank you all again. I'm very grateful. Mm. Oh, that's actually a Merkaba. That's actually a Merkaba, yeah, which is what our light bodies can travel in. Mhm. 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 Are we still on?
Just in case they're still online. Represents the dream within the dream of this reality and like the layers of reality on the way to the heavenly kingdoms, and then the grand central sun that's beyond time and space, where it's just kind of like God sitting with God, which is what we all are anyways, but the direct experience of that, kind of like where you went for a minute there. And it's pretty cool to build bridges. Like, if you remember that movie Back to the Future, and Doc wanted Marty to drive across the bridge, but the bridge wasn't built yet. And he's like, Doc, I'm going to fall off the bridge. He's like, you're not thinking fifth dimensionally, Marty. He's like, by the time you get there, it will be built. And that's a metaphor that I recently shared at the Essene Church in Valley Center during our talk circle, where these bridges, like bridging the heavenly light to earth, and kind of like, what if every moment of the journey was just as sublime as the destination and just as valid? Because even though technically we're already there, the embodiment of the gnosis of that feeling connection to that place, that's how Babaji stays young. That's how like the deathless and breathless yogis, you know, mostly unknown, but a few of them known, do what they do. So we, in our baby steps, we can make our experience of our biology more sublime too. Like a lot of the dogmas, it's like, listen to the spirit, not the flesh. And I'm like, what's the difference? So listen to the spirit within the flesh, among other things. And a lot of times the things that we, you know, where angels fear to tread, where we're taught not to bring our prayers and our devotion, are the exact thing that can complement our existing devotion and kind of remove the speed bump on the superconductor, the particle accelerator, so to speak, and reach this critical mass of higher consciousness. Because how many times are we going to cross the veil before it sticks? Mm-hmm. The cosmic washing machine of reincarnation. But there's a few of us who can just be like, I'm going to reincarnate over there with that family, so come get me, you know?
That pyramid just reminds me there is no veil, and there is no other side, and there is no this side, and all that. You know, not that we don't have near-death experiences and all that stuff, but it's like all here now, right? And that, when I had my near-death experience and going into that light that is beyond the sun, beyond any description, you know, the assignment was now find it there, you know. When I went back, it was like, find that there. And my daughter was given as an assistant to help me with that. And that was 9 months before she was conceived, and 18 months. She was the one that sent me back. Yeah.
So I was just going to say, really, all time is simultaneous. And I learned this when my oldest daughter was 2. She said, my last future lifetime is in China. Wait a minute. Your last future lifetime is in China. And then she understood Chinese. She told me her mother and father's name. She told me she grows rice and she dies in a flood in the Yangtze River. She's 2. How does a 2-year-old know Yangtze River, right? And all of it, she translated for a little girl in her Montessori school who was adopted from China, and she's telling the teacher, you know, oh, so-and-so her pencil broke or whatever. The teacher takes me aside and goes, I didn't know your daughter understood Chinese. Think about what you're going to say. So we have a very close relative. And she's 19. She's in college. She calls me, Mom, I died. It's like, oh my God, honey, what happened? Did you have near-death experience? Are you okay? She said, no, Mom, in my last future life, I died in China. I died in the flood in the Yangtze River. The next day, we heard that the dam broke, and all of these Chinese people who grew rice died in the flood in the Yangtze River. Do. No, multiple, right. Well, all time is simultaneous, and she was tuning into, you know, we have multiple those of us that are trying to get it all taken care of simultaneously. Multiple bodies out there, you know, learning all the lessons. So, yeah, exactly. Yeah. Right. I'm also in India, and I'm also in, you know, I'm not Sai Baba, no. Thank you. So, yeah, and that's why some places we go, we just know where to go. I mean, we just know, you know, around the corner is the pagoda, you know, because we're there in another incarnation. So, anyway, it's all simultaneous. We're just, you know, if we can just, pull ourselves out of whatever's going on the earth plane that seems the most relevant, even if you can't breathe and you're paralyzed, you know, you just punt, you know. So,
Darkness is going to be really up on the planet, but also the opportunity for us to hold the light.
sure.
That's what we have to remember. Not just totally don't get into it.
Right.
It's like the huge new beginning of, you know, the rising of the light on the planet and the darkness coming up.
Well, more people are waking up than ever before on this planet. I mean, one of the things that social media has done, you know, incredibly well is giving people an opportunity all over the world to learn about awakening and to learn that they're light and learn that they're the divine, and you know, so it's happening all over. So what does the dark do when there's more light? You try to cling on even harder, right? So thank you. Well, look at what you all did.
But I guess I want to say to you that we can do this again. I mean, literally, this doesn't have to be a one-time thing, Lori. I mean, literally, we can do this as many times as we need.
Well, we will see what is called for. So I'm grateful.
Or, you know, bring it to life, whatever, whichever direction you want to go. I just want you to know that, you know, please receive again, and if it's in this format, great, but if it's another format, if it's Dennis and Dennis
Simon,
getting together with Samson and working on you, whatever it takes, whatever
thank
it
you.
takes.
Thank you.
We're all here.
Thank you. I'm very grateful. I'm very honored. Thank you.
Yeah, you are very bright and glowing right
All right. Right. Thanks to all of you. Yeah. Well, thank you.
As the Beatles say, I get by with a little help from my friends. I get by with a little
Okay, see if anyone's online. I'm gonna be Dennis now. Maybe should we check if anyone else is online, or we could put this on. I don't know if you want to put it on YouTube later. But oh, it is. Oh, okay.
Is it over now, so it won't block the camera? If I go there?
Yeah, we can.
Oh no, it's still going.
Yeah, my friend Nakako logged in.